Hi, I'm Kim, and I am here with Carlton Mitchell. He is the owner and creator of the Exodus Gallery, created at 5075 Delmar Avenue. Thank you for agreeing to speak with me, Carlton, and tell us more about your journey to Exodus.
Kimberly, thank you first of all for allowing me to share how this all came about. I'm honored that you chose me to be in this series. Um, so this started out. I'm an engineer by profession, but art and history is my passion. And I did a spiritual gifts test, and I scored highest on encouragement. And I didn't even know that that was a spiritual gift, so I didn't, I didn't think much of it, And then I heard a sermon, and it's this the pastor was saying uh, one of the greatest tricks of the enemy to kill, steal, and destroy is to discourage you. Because if he could discourage you, then he doesn't have to do anything. You'll stop yourself from pursuing your dreams. So, so I kind of spread. How can I encourage people? I was good at encouraging people one on one, but like on a larger scale. And this kind of came to my spirit. Just having an art gallery. And I saw, and previously there was a art gallery, portfolio gallery,
Yes,
Robert Powell.
yes.
And I went there a couple of times, and I was really inspired by the art and how the art captured our journey, the African American journey,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the pieces. And one of my first pieces that I purchased, I'll show you upstairs, I bought doing an art exhibit uh, while at Portfolio Gallery.
Mm-hmm.
But so, long story short, I started looking for property, and I found this property. And and people at the time, it was kind of blighted over here. It's like back in 2007,
Yes.
and people were saying, no, that's a lot of money to invest over there. And but I just followed my spirit, and I bought the house, and it was built in 1886, and it was falling apart, and uh, and I was wondering, should I tear it down and start over, or just rehab it? And I decided to rehab it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so once I rehabbed it, this was the um, second phase, building the gallery, because the whole purpose of buying the property is to build the gallery. And
Okay.
so the gallery was actually going to go. Some people ask me, why is it in the back? At
Yeah.
first, it was going to go on the side, but the two lots on the side were two LRA lots. The city wouldn't sell those lots to me
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, So I said, well, I'll build a gallery on the property that I own. So once I built the gallery back here, then they saw the work I was doing. Then they sold me the property. So I ended up putting the parking lot on that side.
Yeah.
So instead of building being close to the
To the main
street,
street. Yeah.
that's how it ended up back here.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm going too far back or not. Or is there anything you want me to zero in on?
No, no, no,
Okay,
no, no, no,
okay.
no.
So I started this project. I was working at Boeing at the time,
Okay.
and so they had a lot of layoffs. I was halfway finished with this project because I funded it all myself. Okay,
Okay.
it's from my salary at Boeing, and so they had a lot of layoffs, and I was caught up in that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and and so it was right at the time when the housing bubble had burst back in 2008, and people were getting laid off left and right and losing their jobs, losing their homes. And then people who got their jobs, found other jobs, they weren't finding jobs paying much less than their original job. So there's a lot of that going on. So I'm like, I'm right in the middle of this project, and I lose my job. And at the same time, I had my first child. So all this was going on at the same time, and I was like, Lord, what is going on?
Mm-hmm.
So I was I was out of work for 3 months. So that 3 months, I got up every morning, came over here and worked.
So you
I
physically,
physically did the majority of the work in here, from the floors to the ceiling. I did the work myself with my own hands, and
wow.
I didn't build the exterior.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and So, but the inside I did myself. Even the insulation in here, I didn't do the
Mhm.
electrical and plumbing, of course, but the
Mhm.
trim and everything.
Okay.
So got up and did that for about 3 months, and as soon as I finished the work inside, I got a call. So it was almost like, because at the time, right before the layoffs, it's like we were doing work of two people, and it was so stressful, And so it's almost like this is how I felt. Like God said, "Look, I'm gonna give you some rest from that. I'm gonna put you on what I want you to do," and that's exactly because soon as I finished, I got the call from where I'm working now, and it's the best job I ever had. And
Wow.
so, and I'm still working there now.
Wow.
And and it's a job kind of overseeing boring projects. So
Okay.
so
Okay.
if it worked for the government,
Mhm.
and so that was just one thing that happened, and it's so many things. But one of the reasons why I thought this was more of I felt led to do this more than just a business venture is because if you notice the name Exodus,
Yes.
okay, so Exodus is one of my favorite books in the Bible.
Yes.
And if you know that story about the children of Israel
Yes.
being freed,
Yes.
and then but they wandered in the wilderness for 40 years.
Yes.
So I kind of looked at our community, African American community, kind of you know, had a similar journey.
Mhm.
Everybody can compare that to our journey. And
Yeah.
then if you, we're not slaves anymore, but we're still not reaching our full potential.
Mhm.
And so one of the things that, like for instance, the back to the encouragement part, when the children of Israel finally reached the promised land, first thing they did is saw who was in that land, and they was like, "We can't take that land. We like grasshoppers, and
Mhm.
and we look the same. We look like grasshoppers to them, and I mean,
Mhm.
and and um, so they were discouraged basically. So I think our people, the community, in a lot of ways, a lot of times people don't reach their potential because they feel discouraged. They feel like I don't have enough money. I don't know have I'm not smart enough. Something is lacking.
Mhm.
And so sometimes they need a little encouragement. And so that's uh, that's that's the whole focus on the Exodus story. And so if you walk around the gallery, you'll see a lot of encouraging themes. And
Mhm.
that's really the focus of all the art. I don't do a lot of abstract. It's mostly visions of our journey.
Mhm.
And you'll see a lot, and I can show you a lot of that, but it's things that encourage you to reach your potential. And the art, I think 90% of the art is art from the community, people who are artists in the community,
So local
local
artists.
artists, yes.
Okay.
And I don't have any Picassos in here or anything, but I try to give the amateur artists a place to showcase their talent, to encourage them to continue their gift. Because a lot of people have their art sitting around in the
Mhm.
garage or in the basement or whatever. So I try to give them a place to showcase their talent,
Mhm.
and that way, maybe one day they will become a Picasso. But um, like I said, there's a lot of that's the focus. That was one of the ways that God, I asked him, how can I encourage people on a larger scale? And this is what came to me, art gallery. And so that's basically how this whole idea came about.
And that's a very unique perspective to look at encouraging your community and building your community through art and providing a space for individuals to express and to also be seen.
Right.
You give a platform uh, for the local artist to have somewhere to house their art and where others can partake of it. And I think that one of the really, really phenomenal parts of your story is that you were led here, and despite all of the things that people said to the contrary, that you just moved forward with what it was that you felt in your heart that needed to happen in this space. So, this is your contribution to the community. So, what are in from your perspective, what are some priorities that you would like to see happen along the Delmar corridor that would uh, continue to help you to sustain being in this space?
Well, I really like being in this space. I'm always out in the yard working, and and it's not a time I'm out there that somebody walks by and say, "What is that back there?" Because I still haven't put a sign out,
Yeah, you
like,
don't have the sign.
and they're like,
Yeah.
"What is that?" And but they all, I get so much encouragement. It's like, man, you really take care of that property, and man, you really did a good job back there. But they don't really know what it is. But then when they come in, it's like, wow, I didn't know. And to come in and see images of us, you know what I'm saying,
Mhm.
and that makes them, that really encourages them, because I kind of look at it as when you saw this building in the front, it was about to fall down. It actually, the whole east wall fell down. When you were driving down Delmar, it looked like a dollhouse. You could see all the rooms because the wall was weak, and when they started construction, it just fell. So that's how bad the building was and bad a condition it was. And it's like, to see what it was like and then to see it now,
Mhm.
it's like I see a lot of people. You have a blood bank here, right
Mhm.
down the street. A
Mhm.
lot of people go there, low on income,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
you know, and and so uh, and it's kind of like, I think I see it as this building itself kind of encourages people, because a lot of people grew up around here that still, they saw what this building looked like, and then they see it now. It's almost like encouragement that no matter what condition you're in, you know,
Mhm.
you it could, it's there's hope, and
Yes.
so that's why. And so I get encouraged when people walk by and say, "Man, you did a good job with that." I remember I grew up at, next door to that. It was a house there.
Mhm.
So yeah,
So what are
but
the
I'd like to
things?
see,
Yeah.
um, there's a lot of development coming in the area,
Yes.
and like gentrification. It's like I've been to Harlem, but now Harlem, you see a lot of, places like Domino's Pizza and things like that. Doesn't have a lot of the heritage that you think of when you go to Harlem, when you
Mhm.
expect to see when you go to Harlem.
Yes. Mhm.
And I would like to see uh, some things that represent a lot of the history of this area too. You
Okay.
know what I mean?
Mhm.
I mean, a lot of the new developments and everything are great, but I think it's important to have something that reflects,
Mhm.
where because this was a divide, I
Mhm.
mean, and I think I was, that if I don't remember too many, like there was a lot of businesses on the south side, but there weren't too many businesses on the north side. No, not too many buying uh, property and building, not right in this stretch.
Okay.
So I'd
Mhm.
like to see the people who grew up in this area, like when they come and say, "Man, I remember I grew up next door to there, and I love what you did to it." I think that's a good thing to have, people to be able to come back in the area and say, "Man, I'm proud of how that area," and it's still some pieces there that I remember.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
think that's good for development.
Mhm. Um, and it is. It is. It's really good to maintain some of our historic significance as well as our culture,
Mm-hmm.
because there have always been very diverse sets of cultures that have existed in this space.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have been very intentional about delivering something that is cultural to
Mm-hmm.
this space. And so what we like to do is go around in the space itself and see some of the work that is on display and see the work of your hands
Mm-hmm.
because it's truly amazing.
Well, you summed that up much better than I could have did it. I'm glad you. Yeah.
Well, good, good. So we're going to go now and just take a walk around so that we can see some of the beautiful works that you have displayed and see more of the space.
So here's a picture of the building in the front when I first bought this property. That was the only thing on the property, and it was about to fall apart. This whole wall fell, and so you could see all the rooms. So that's how weak this wall was. And then this is after I renovated that building, and that was first phase of this project. Then the second phase was building the actual gallery we're in now. This is that going up, and this is that. And then I've like doing events. These are some of the past events I've had here. These are some of the first events, and so I try to like take pictures and kind of when you walk down this hall, it's kind of like when I have a lot of repeat customers that come back and rent for family events, and so they like coming in and seeing their pictures of the past events because most of the customers here are repeat, and so so it's like it's almost like a home away from home. They didn't really the event they had was too large for their home, but they didn't really need to go to a big banquet hall or whatever. So this was perfect for them. And so a lot of political candidates have been here also. Like I guess coming here was like being connected to the community, and you see a lot of um, the uh, the pictures from that. And so, for example, there's a lady who's a director. She directed East Bayou and some other Harriet, the movie Harriet. Uh, Stacy Lemon here. She's a St. Louis native, and they had a celebration. They had a celebration for her here, a tribute to her here. So there's a lot of different types of events. Uh, this is one person who had a birthday party, hired Angela Winbush to perform. I've had a lot of local, the Bosman twins have performed, Denise Times have performed here, and a lot of local artists have performed here over the years. And so this is some of the past art exhibits. And this is a poster from, when the Michael Brown incident, this is Hands Up, Don't Shoot. This is a poster from that. And we had an exhibit around that time. And these are some of the other exhibits that we've had over the years. And like, for instance, this person wrote a book called Hey Little Black Girl, and she had her book signing here. This is Black Girl Build, and they teach young women construction, and they had an event here. Um, this is like this person had a book signing. She uh, published some children's books. So I have a lot of book signings, product launches, baby showers, uh, uh, gender reveals, all types of family oriented events here, So, and it's like it's like I've become family with a lot of the people who bring here. I've had some people who bring here 3 or 4 times already. So this is a piece by the artist named Kelly Monique, and I commissioned her to do this piece. And it's like it's heavy acrylic, so you can see all the texture, the trees and the fence. It's actually the building in the front and the gallery right here. So I really like this piece. And then this piece is one of my favorite pieces. This is by Leonard Hines, and it's called Free at Last. And it kind of goes with the theme of Exodus. So it's actually 6 feet tall by 4 feet wide. It doesn't look that big, but I like it for the size. And I tried to get some pricing for the framing of that, and $1,000 was the cheapest I got. So I ended up making this frame myself. This is one of the first pieces I bought. This was one I bought from Portfolio Gallery back probably about 20 years ago. And that's not for sale, but if you can't read it real, but it's called Voting Rights. That's the name of this piece.
Okay.
Name is Angel Weber. And a lot of artists know that sometimes the frame makes the piece.
Yes.
And this kind of reminds you of the kind of wood that might have come off of an old barn or whatever, and even has the old nails in it. So I think in this piece, the frame really brings that piece out.
It does. Yeah. It does. It looks like recovered wood that he repurposed.
And this is my daughter, and this is her first piece, masterpiece, when she was like less than 1. You can see here.
Encouraging her artistry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's called, a little write-up. As I said, there's a lot of encouraging quotes around. This is called Born with a Gift. And I'm talking about if you are born with a gift, it's a gift for you to share with the world. And then and for you to keep it in is like, denying the world of a gift that God gave you to share with the world. So I just want to encourage people, if they have a gift, to try to, encourage other people. They got to give your child or anybody, encourage them to pursue that, because you never know where it might lead.
How
And
old is your daughter
she's
now?
13 now.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
And really seem to like is right
Yeah,
here.
because it's kind of, is it 3D or
Well,
it's not?
this is a piece by Sonia Robinson, and she does a lot of her work on like things other than canvas. This is on wood, and then she does it on leather, on fabric. But this one is called Back and Fro, and certain lights at night you can the gold streaks light up to really make that. But she did this piece, and then she did the other piece over there with the angel. This it's like, and that's called The Agent. And her inspiration behind that is like supposedly everybody has a guardian angel. They might have saved you from getting hit by a car and all that, and you may not have even known it. And but that's like after a hard day's work of doing whatever he does, doing to protect you or whatever. And this is let's see, oh, Judy Baker. Judy Baker. This is pieces by Judy Baker, James Brown, and African Cream, and she just passed about a month ago. And so yeah, so very nice lady. So
it was a blessing you were able to get her
get her art.
Yeah, yeah, and be able to preserve it. Now, what are these interesting uniforms?
So there's a lot of historical artifacts here. So, for instance, this is a replica of the Green Book that back in the 30s, 40s, when blacks used to travel around the country, they needed to know where they could go to get lodging, gas, whatever, and not be lynched or whatever. And so you can look in here and see there's a lot of places in St. Louis. There's a lot of places that used to be on, it used to be called, Martin Luther King used to be called Easton. If you look in here, you'll see a lot of hotels and restaurants on Easton that people used to go to back in those days.
Absolutely.
And like I said, most of the things in here from the community, someone's grandfather was a Buffalo soldier in World War II, and he donated his grandfather's uniform. And you can see the Buffalo soldier patch on the side. And so this talks about the Buffalo soldiers, even though, and some of the things they accomplished, and even though they were underpaid, given subpar uniforms and equipment, discriminated against, but they did miraculous things during the war. They actually started right after the Civil War, and this is a figurine that kind of captures that. But then, and then here's some of the, like I said, some of the things that they've accomplished. And there's a couple more things. This is one of my favorite pieces. There's artist named Annie Lee. Maybe some people heard of Annie Lee. She does a lot of figurines. She started off as an artist. So each one of these pieces are actually life-size pieces, miniature of life-size pieces that might be in a museum or somebody might own. And this is called the gallery. And each one of these people each one of these figurines are in one of these pictures.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, and I got her to sign this and the other piece. Oh, I'm going to show you before she passed. And so, yep. And this is a replica of a Benin bronze. And this is the Queen Mother. And so Benin, Africa, is the present day. Its present day is called Nigeria. And so the British colonized that. And while they were doing it, they took a lot of the bronzes, and they're in the British Museum right now. And they're trying to get them back, but it's a big battle. And one of the I guess things they say for not things to support not giving back is they're not sure they're going to know how to take care of them properly, and they're the ones that made them, and they're so valuable because they're not just random busts. They actually represent actual people. Like this is the Queen Mother. So you can imagine if you had busts in your home of your great great grandmother and your grandfather, and you know what I'm saying? How valuable that would be to you. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not just a random person.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And this, my father makes these. This is a history of the Jumping the Broom wedding, and then all around the gallery I have these little masks, and they're actually like this is the a Duma mask, and an Ashanti mask. I have some more around, and it talks about the significance of those masks and what they mean. And and so when you see masks, you'll know what that mask represents and what tribe it's from.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a garage because I have a garage door here, and so one of the reasons I designed this like this is because I, I used to work for GM in the design department, and so every concept car starts off as a sketch. So that's how I kind of brought the art theme in here. I have the sketches here, and so these are some of the cars I wish I had. This wall is from our most recent art exhibit. It was an artist by the name of Jillian Lauren, and these are all pieces that's left over from that exhibit. And her focus was capturing beauty